Capri Rose is a rose bred by Tantau in 2014. The rose is approximately 80 to 90 centimeters tall and about 60 centimeters wide. A lot of people will say that this is only hardy down to USDA Zone 8A, but in my honest opinion, this rose feels much more like a 6B on hardiness. I know for certain it has survived one winter for me where temperatures dropped to minus 22 C, and it has survived many winters where temperatures have been at minus 70 C. So don't let the official rankings fool you that this one is often not ranked as that cold hardy, because in my opinion it is absolutely cold hardy. I have had no issues with disease on this one. It has been very healthy, an 8 out of 10 on health. Sometimes the blooms can get a bit of water damage, but it has not been enough for me to not grow it. Usually it is contained to the outer petals, getting a bit destroyed, but the rest of the bloom tends to open fine. I will say this about it. In my opinion, it is a much better rose than its sister rose, Lady Capri. And I'll be going over why and how you can tell the two apart. The first thing you notice with Capri over Lady Capri is Capri has a very strong peach and apricot scent. Very strong, sweet peach and apricot. Much better than Mauritia rose that is also sometimes giving off these peach and apricot notes behind the mask. This one is much more powerful on peach and apricot, and it is one of my favorites for that peach and apricot scent. So that is the first difference between Capri and Lady Capri. Capri gives you a very strong, potent 8 to 8.5 peach and apricot scent. Very potent. So the second difference you can tell these two apart is Capri tends to be completely more apricot colored or orange shaded. The whole bloom tends to take on more one color, while Lady Capri tends to get more wider outer edges with an apricot center. So if you have a rose that is more two-colored, where the center is much more apricot, then it is most likely Lady Capri, not Capri. Capri is much more one-colored than Lady Capri. So think about those two things. Is it a very strong peach and apricot fragrance? Then it's most likely Capri. Is it more towards one color? Then it is most likely Capri. If it is more tea scented with a bit of fruit thrown in, then it is most likely Lady Capri. And if it is more two-colored with a bit more cream white edges around the apricot, then it is again Lady Capri. I hope that helps many people out there to tell these roses apart, because I see a lot of confusion about these two, and I thought I would clear it up. As usual, both my Capri and Lady Capri was bought at Tantau himself, and I've been growing these for at least 5 years now. They have been in my garden for a long time, and I am starting to know them very well. But what do I think about Capri? I actually think Capri deserves all the ravings she gets, because she is a very strong apricot and peach scented rose. I just sadly think there's so much confusion out there between Capri and Lady Capri that I feel that is why people don't agree on this rose, because a lot of people will think they're growing Lady Capri and they're growing Capri, and some other people will think they're growing Capri, but they're really growing Lady Capri, if you can understand me. And I think that is what has really muddied up this whole discussion about Capri and Lady Capri, where some people will say a very strong scent, other people will say a not so strong scent. And that is exactly the difference between Capri and Lady Capri. Capri has a strong scent, Lady Capri does not. And as I said, you can tell them apart by the color difference, and you can also tell them apart by the very powerful apricot and peach scent, while the other, Lady Capri, is much more tea dominated, much more leaned back on the scent. There's still some apricot in both of them, but in one of them, the apricot is very, very toned out by the tea fragrance, and that one is Lady Capri. So, what is my opinion about the Capri Rose? I actually like this one a lot. It kind of reminds me of Never Ending Story. Maybe not so big in the blooms or always as impressive in the blooms, but really solid health, really solid apricot fragrance. Perhaps the apricot fragrance is even a half point better than Never Ending Story, but very, very similar. So if you're in the market for a very strong peach and apricot fragrance, and you're willing to deal with the flowers sometimes having their outer petals destroyed, then Capri is a very good rose for fragrance. Just remember to not mistake it for Lady Capri, and if you put your nose to the rose and it is giving off a lot of tea scent, then it is Lady Capri, it is not Capri. But as usual, I like being really helpful, so I will show you all a picture of Lady Capri and Capri. The picture you'll see on the scene now is Lady Capri. And the picture you see on the scene now is Capri. Notice the difference in color. I'm only doing this so you can spot it yourself in real life. But that about sums it up, and I hope you guys have a nice day out there and a good weekend.